and Babysitting Black-Eyed Children, Part 4. This wonderful series is written by Reddit user RoseBlack2222. So grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. Another day, another pain in my ass. I woke up this morning to the kids knocking on my door. I muttered a curse and groggily climbed out of bed. "What do you want?" I asked after opening the door. "It's time for the fourth task," Abraham said. "And that would be?" "We need you to get a flower," Louise told me. "Any particular kind of flower?" "A Franklin tree flower." "Never heard of that one." I typed the name of it on my phone. "Oh no, wait. It says it's extremely rare. Can't you use it another kind of flower?" "No, it has to be that one specifically," Abraham said. "Okay, there's a flower shop in town. If none are there, I don't know what to tell you. I'm guessing if there are some, they're probably going to be expensive due to its rarity. Wait, I have an idea. Why don't you two just come in with me? You can possess the owner and make them give us the flower if they have it." "We can't enter somewhere unless invited in, remember?" Louise said. "I know that. All I have to do is tell them you want to see the flower and get permission for you guys to come in." "It doesn't work that way," Abraham said. "They have to invite us in directly. In other words, they would have to see us." "I didn't see you guys when I invited you here." "Yes, but you were in direct contact with our father. How do you guys have internet and all that stuff anyway?" "We have a home of our own. We do it to blend in." "Right. Wait, I have just got another idea. Is there any way you guys can try to sound quite so ominous when talking? Like this?" they replied with an incredibly forced smile and tone. "Maybe dial it back a little." "Is this better?" Louise asked. Their smiles weren't as wide and their voices were a bit softer. "Good, just let me dial the number." I called the flower shop. The owner picked up and I explained to her that the kids adored flowers and wanted to ask her some questions. They asked her if she had any Franklin tree flowers. She confirmed that she did and asked if they would like to see them. They replied yes and were invited over to do so. Once that was done, I thanked the owner and hung up. Now all we have to do is address the how do I put this aura of doom surrounding you guys. Any ideas? What I came up with was to say that the kids had phengophobia, which is the fear of daylight, not to be confused with photophobia, which is the fear of any kind of light. Then they have to wear some clothes to cover their complexions. When that was done, we got in my car and I drove us to the flower shop. There I parked in front of the shop window and got out of my car. "I'll wave to you guys when it's time for you to come in," I told the kids before closing the door. I opened the door to the shop, which caused a bell to ring. The owner called to me from the counter. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Yeah, I'm the one you talked with on the phone earlier." "Oh, it's you," she said cheerfully. "Where are the kids?" "They're really shy, so I wanted to make sure there weren't too many people in here." "Well, you're in luck. The store is pretty much dead right now. Why don't you bring them in?" I waved to the kids. They got out the car and made their way to the front door. They had on light hoodies to cover their faces. The owner inquired about this and I mentioned the phengophobia. She told us that she understood. The kids acted as if they were going to come in, but paused right outside the door. "It's okay," the owner said. "You can come in." With that said, the kids were able to enter. When they did, I noticed a look of worry come over the owner's face, but only for a moment. Her cheery demeanour returned and she led us behind her shop. There we saw the tree containing the Franklin tree flowers. "What do you think of them?" the owner asked. "They're really pretty," I replied. "Thanks, I hope you two like them." She looked at the kids. "We do, very much," Abraham said. "May we get a closer look?" Louise asked. "Of course," the owner replied. The kids went over to the tree and started asking questions about the flowers. I watched and waited for one of them to possess her. I began to grow impatient from them taking so long. At last a good opportunity came up that they capitalized on. Abraham asked if they could hold one of the flowers. The owner replied that they couldn't, but that she could bend down one of the branches so that they could touch the flowers. When her back was turned, Louise began sprouting that inky stuff out of her mouth. The owner turned round while holding one of the branches. When she did, the inky substance latched onto her face and started entering her mouth. We heard someone gasp from the doorway. We turned to see a guy was standing in the doorway. He looked from us to the owner, who still had the substance entering her mouth, and tried fleeing. I ran after the man and tackled him to the shop floor. I tried to get him to calm down, but he wasn't having it. He grabbed a small potted plant and attempted hitting me in the face with it. I was able to shield myself in time. That didn't stop my arms from hurting like hell when it shattered against them. He got up and headed for the door. As he did, I noticed the plants in the store were starting to act strange. They were swaying back and forth in sync with each other. Some of them were moving towards the edges of the shelves they were on. When the man reached the door, which was by the shelves, the plants slid off of them and fell on his head. The pots they were in shattered against him. I counted at least 5 of them that fell on his head, maybe even 6. He staggered back and fell unconscious to the floor. That was when I noticed the kids and the owner were back in the shop. "You guys did that?" I asked. "Of course," Abraham replied. "I thought you guys could only do that kind of stuff with animals and people." "You thought wrong. We have influence over all living things within our vicinity." "Right, well, we need to do something about all of this." I gestured towards the broken plants and the unconscious man. "I know how we can handle this," Abraham said. He then went over to the man and began sprouting that inky stuff from his mouth towards him. It started covering the man as it had with the groundskeeper. "What are you doing?" I asked. "We can't leave a fucking corpse here. Someone will see it." Abraham ignored me and continued. The dark stuff completely enveloped the man and started pulling away from him. Instead of his face being contorted like the groundskeeper's was, it looked pretty much unchanged. The only thing that was different was the fact that he was still alive and that his expression had changed. He looked as if every last bit of his joy had been sucked out, and that's because I'm pretty sure it was. "What the hell did you do to him?" I asked. "All I did was put him in a mental state where he's too depressed to let anyone know of what he saw, or to even want to speak at all for that matter," Abraham said. "What are you guys?" "We'd like to know that ourselves." We took some of the money from the register and put them on the man. Then the kids pulled their hoods back up and Louise freed the owner from her control. She was confused about how she was back in the shop without remembering. Then she noticed the man and the mess and asked what happened. I told her that he tried stealing her flowers and her money, but I managed to stop him, accidentally creating a mess in the process. She thanked us and called the police. They arrived shortly later and arrested the man. He was too depressed to defend himself. He just nodded to everything they asked him. The owner thanked us by letting us have 2 of the flowers from the Franklin tree. Then we left and got back in the car. "Well, that could have gone better," I said as I was driving us back home. "What do you mean?" Louise said. "We got the flowers and nobody died this time." "I just saw a man get his will to live sucked out of him. Not to mention he'll probably end up in prison for something he didn't do. I wouldn't say our trip to the store went smoothly. No matter, we got what we needed. Besides, that man will be too depressed to care if he's locked up." "Thanks. You really know how to give someone peace of mind." We got back to my house. As usual, the kids went back down to the basement, taking the flowers with them. I went outside to cool off. I don't know what's worse, what happened to the groundskeeper or what happened to the man in the shop. Either way, I'm getting no sleep tonight. At least I only have one more day left. Wow, that was an epic episode. If you enjoyed listening to this installment, be sure to pop over to the author's Reddit profile, RoseBlack2222, and drop them a line, or even give them a glowing review. The link to their Reddit profile will be below in the description, and be sure to check out their Patreon for more stories. The link to their Patreon will also be listed below. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoyed my narration, then please feel free to like and share the video, leave a comment below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. Have you had any cryptid sightings, paranormal or supernatural encounters, or even had any creepy or terrifying situations that you would like to share? Or have you even written a CreepyPasta story that you would like me to narrate? You can submit your stories and encounters to cryptidsroost@gmail.com. If you wish to remain anonymous, that's fine with me, not a problem. Now I also have a Facebook group, Twitter, Reddit and Discord, although I don't have my own server yet. Now again, all the relevant links will be below. If you would like to support the channel and help to make it grow, my PayPal is paypal.me/Cryptids Roost. Again, that'll all be listed below. Oh, and one final note, I am in the process of creating a couple of merch stores, one on Redbubble and one on Teespring, so be sure to keep your eye out for any further notifications of those. Okay? And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is not.